Peace, man. Today is Friday the 20, was it the 23rd? And that's peace because yes, it is the 23rd. The 23rd represents wisdom, understanding, right? Wisdom is wise ways, words, and actions, spoken by the original man, woman, and child. And understanding is the best part, man. It's whenever you can mentally visualize both your knowledge and your wisdom. It's the picture that you develop inside your third eye, which is your mind, right? So you can clearly see things for what they are, not just what they appear to be. So, as I build with today, right, and I'm actually at work as a life skills counselor, drug and alcohol counselor at First Step Recovery Homes. I love what I do because, the duty of a civilized person is to what? Teach he who is a savage, civilization. So we're teaching people who were savages in pursuit of happiness, those who fell victim to the disease of addiction, to find the knowledge of themselves, who they are, what their potential is. You don't got to look for something outside of you to find, that which exists inside of you, right? I'm showing my universal flag because this is what encompasses everything that I'm speaking on. All right, so long story short, I'm sitting here and I'm building with the brothers, right? And I'm thinking about, because it is Black History Month, it's February. And we're talking about, if you were able to go back in time, imagine you had a time machine, right? And you were able to go back in time and see some of the people who were part of the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade. You were to find people who sold your people into slavery. Like, how would that make you feel? What would you do, right? And, I see a lot of guys and they talk about, if I couldn't have lived in those times, if I would be back there, I would have, I would have duffed out this guy right here, and I would have, I would have slaughtered this cat right here, I would have been Nat Turner on them, they would have had to Ben hang me. And my thing is, like, I feel you, I feel the frustration, I feel the pain, but self-preservation is the rule of nature. Most people ain't jumping in front of a firing squad or putting their neck up to the noose, because if you were, you'd be doing the same thing right now when the cops are killing us on camera, when people are getting choked out because they're selling cigarettes, and on the same note, buying a kid Burger King when he shoots up a church, or finding insanity pleas when he shoots up a school. I want to send out my condolences to the families in Florida for the recent school shooting that happened on Valentine's Day. That's a serious issue, and we're about to move out on that. This foundation I'm trying to put together, that I'm striving to put together, as well as with First Step, with Outreach Ministries and a couple other people who are on the same page as me. We're going to get together and we're going to try to make something happen to reach out for the families, because at the end of the day, we can wisdom all we want, but understanding is the best part, and we have to protect our children, right? So anyway, back to my point. I was speaking of how if you were able to go back in the time, what would you do if you seen somebody selling your people into slavery? Now, most of the guys, their face was like, they got all, tight-faced and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I think you can walk up to, somebody and stroll and do what you got to do and try to liberate your people. Because who in their right mind would sell their own people into slavery, right? What type of person would worry about benefiting financially off of the misery of somebody else, to enslave them, to have them helpless to other people, just basically, manipulate them, be a bloodsucker of the poor? A modern day drug dealer, right? Man, that's kind of heavy, because I was a modern day drug dealer. So that was a sobering thought, but it came to me as I was speaking. So, words sound power, you gotta let that out. So I'm like, wow. As I'm saying it, I'm realizing that today, well, as of maybe about 10 years ago, I was the person who sold my brother into slavery, mental slavery, due to his addiction, due to his weakness, due to his holding on to helplessness of his own addiction, the unmanageability of his own addiction. I sold him crack, I sold him cocaine, females, you know, they were tricking, they were leaving the children, because you know what we tend to think often is, I'm not that bad of a person. You know, I look out, I put my peoples on, I spread love. You know what I'm saying? I even give somebody credit. I don't go upside their head if they ain't got the money. I kind of let them breathe. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of messed up when you really think about it, that you helped sell your people into slavery. Yeah, because I did. And then I started thinking a little bit deeper, because I just recently went and did my 23andMe DNA test to try to trace my lineage and whatnot. And I'm thinking, what if this was in my DNA? Like, what if there was a slave trader deep down in about 300-400 years ago in my family line? Maybe that's why I have the capability to sell somebody drugs and not think nothing of it, not look at how it's part of modern day slavery, not look at the damage that it caused to the community, to that family, to that individual, you know. And it turns into inward hate because of that guilt, right? But Coretta Scott King said it best. She said, hatred is a burden too big to bear. It's too large to bear. She said that it's more fatal to the hater than it is to the person who's being hated. You know, because whenever you're putting that stuff out there and you turn it inside, the more energy that you're using the send negative to somebody else is eating you up. Like, you can't sit around and hate. You gotta love, because that's what life is based off of: interdependence, interaction, being holistic. So you can't turn that inwards. You gotta let that out, and then outwards is only expression of love. It's not to be expression of hate, because hate's only something that's cancerous. It's gonna constantly eat at you. So when I start thinking like that, I'm like, well, you know, that's one of the reasons I became interested in doing outreach, community services, bringing integrity and dignity back to my name, you know. So living out my attribute, now build, continue Makaru Allah. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to make sure that now I build, because now is the time to build on positivity and not negativity, you know, and continue being devoted to the highest of powers, that being devoted to the highest of principles, you know. So that devotion, you know, that Aset type energy, that non-wavering commitment, you know. Makaru being true word and deed. In other words, you know, my word is my bond and my bond is my word. My bond is my life. I give my life before my word shall fail. So, and then of course Allah being arm, leg, arm, head. 72 degrees of peace, born in 360 degrees. You know, a complete cipher, something that was complete within itself, which is me. You know, so whenever you can start living out your name, you start becoming and being the message that you bring, so to speak, then you don't have to fall victim to those four devils. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm looking at it like that, I'm like, wow, maybe it's bigger than just a simple choice. Maybe it's a matter of you cleaning out your DNA. Maybe it's a matter of you becoming an honorable ancestor. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's time for you to reconnect with your roots. You know, the Agun. You know, maybe it's time for you to find out that you are that Orisha, that you are that deity, that you are that God, and stop looking for something outside of yourself. Because after all, whenever you start selling them destroy rules, you know what I'm saying? Whenever you start selling those high explosives and eating off of somebody else, you're part of that 10%. And you're searching for something outside of yourself. You're searching for that mystery God to bring you food, clothing, and shelter. When in all reality, you can manifest that within self and not off of the backs of your own. So, you know, that became the science of the day. And then, of course, we're dealing with the science of power refinement. So, you know, refinement is that justice, man. It's a double-edged sword. So, you know, it's to purify yourself, both mentally as well as physically. So, at the end of the day, I had to make sure that I put that sword against myself to cut off those parts of me that weren't necessarily in the best interest, you know what I'm saying? And hold on to that which is purified. Hold on to the best parts. You know, that's why we settle on the best part. So at the end of the day, right, I send this out to you. I'm asking, you know, for us to come together on for one united cause, to kind of look at ourselves and take an honest inventory of ourselves, you know what I'm saying, and start putting some of this negative that we've been carrying away. Stop holding on to this negative and start manifesting positivity. Start manifesting reality. Start doing the right thing. And if it hurts, it's only going to be temporary. You know what I'm saying? So with that, I say peace.